What's up, everyone? It's your boy Rock Clever. This is my next video. This is day 2 in the 30-day challenge, and so we're going to do this. I usually should be doing these videos. I think I should be doing these videos like earlier in the daytime, but I'm not a day person because I work nights. So usually during the daytime, I'm like sleeping, masturbating, going to the gym, sleeping, masturbating, and going back to sleep. Then going to work around 4-ish, 5-ish. So doing this thing during the daytime just doesn't happen sometimes for me. But anyhow, this topic is about the idea of gay relationships and if they do work and if they can last. A lot of times with black gay men, and I want to say black gay men in particular because I'm not too much aware of the white gay experience and I'm not too aware of the lesbian experience. So I want to make this very, very narrow and make this just about black gay men. There's this misconception that gay relationships just don't work and they don't last. I think that people always say that, well, gay relationships just don't work and that they're horrible and that people just don't want to be faithful and act right, blah, 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 so on and so forth. All these like inane excuses that have nothing to do with the fact that there's two people in a situation trying to make something work. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Gay relationships do work. I think that you have to find a person that matches what you're looking for. But oftentimes people do not know what they want at all. They are so fixated on one part of the person versus the entire whole. And when you're in a relationship, you have to love the person basically at their worst. And finding someone to be with is a very easy process. It's a lot easier than people think it is. You literally have to be almost short of charity work. Almost at the bare minimum of what you really want in a date or a spouse or a mate or whatever you want to call it. So, a lot of times that when people get to the bare essentials of what you really want, like let's say for instance, you want a guy who works out and who's in shape with a six-pack, thighs, ass, huge dick and biceps and chest and traps and all kinds of shit and muscles and shit popping out everywhere. You may not be able to get that. So you settling for a guy who has a nice stocky football player like shape, not so cut up, not so toned, but you can see there's muscle there. He does work out, he's just not there yet. That could be a start. Or like me, for instance, I prefer guys who are extremely tall. Two of my exes were 6'7", and that was the ideal type of guy I like to be with. I like really tall guys. But now, if you're 6'2" or 5'11", I'm not going to turn you away just because you're like, closer to my height or you're not a 6-footer exactly. But let's be real, you can't be shorter than me. That's not happening. But you have to almost like just go down to the bare minimum of what you want. A lot of things in relationships can be built upon. So it's not like, you can't, work in a relationship to be better people, come to a better place, especially with your looks and going to the gym. Like that's all that kind of things are like inconsequential, I guess. I feel like that's not a word. I think I just made something up, but just ride the wave with me. You can always have a better body. You can work that out. That's something you can work on. But looking for something in a relationship that is more than what you can bring is, I think, what a lot of times the problem is. And also people pick the worst people to date without investigating or asking any questions. There's like a lot of times people get in these relationships and they meet up with this person and they think things are great, things are lovely. They go through the honeymoon phase, and the honeymoon phase usually always involves you being their representative, not really the person that you are going to be dating in the future. Not the messy, sloppy, moody, not so great in bed sometimes angry, sometimes sad, likes to use illegal substances and has all these secret bad habits and shit. And I think people don't ask any questions. They're more so attracted to the idea of physicalities, like are you top or bottom, how big is your dick, how many sex partners have you slept with, who are you associated with, like who are your friends. Those things are semi-relevant. Association is relevant relatively, but my thing is that who's in a relationship is you and your dude, right? Not you and everybody else. And that's another thing. People don't allow their relationships to have enough privacy. When you're in a relationship, you should almost have the celebrity skin mentality where whatever happens in your relationship, when you're in a relationship, you only allow people to see your successes, not your failures. So my thing is that when you and your man are beefing, and I wanted to say this. This video is very broad. These things that I'm about to say can be taken if you're straight, gay, or whatever you identify as, transgender, transsexual, bisexual, pansexual, open sexual, trisexual, whatever you are, polyamorous, whatever. But when you're in a relationship should be kept very private. Like, you don't go on Instagram, Twitter, and and say things in subtweets or subgramming. I'm making that up, and y'all can use that. Subgramming and textgrams and Facebook posts, and that's just that's part of the problem. Our relationships don't work regardless if you're gay or straight, is the lack of communication. And my thing is, in a relationship, you have to communicate what you're feeling. And sometimes you have to say the things that hurt. And sometimes the truth hurts. But you can always say it the right way. But communication in relationships are another topic. And we have a whole nother 28 more days to discuss that. And we will totally get there. But anyhow, my thing is that gay relationships do work and they can be successful. But you also understand as well that historically, gay relationships were not built for longevity. Primarily because of things like us not having marriage rights, us not having the right to adopt, things like that. So my thing is, if we're not being able to build anything, why are we here? Unlike our straight counterparts, who immediately get benefits as soon as they get married, or they can get married, or they can have sex for procreation. Being a gay man, don't have sex for procreation. We can just have wanton sex all the time and not really think nothing about it, because like, we can fuck and no one's going to get pregnant. So why are we having this connection? Or even when, with straight people, I am not going to quote, I'm not going to say I can really vouch for this, but I'm not saying how true this is, but there are situations where when people get pregnant in those situations that they stick together because of the children, which is another video, which is another bad idea of staying in a relationship because of children, but that's just me, and that's from me speaking from my experience. But they have all these different variables and we don't have. So my thing is, why are we in a relationship? Why are we here? For companionship? And do I really need companionship? Like, I can just get a dog or several dogs or a cat. I don't need a man to be here. I just need some conversation and some ass or some dick every once in a while. And I can get that whenever I want because, of course, with the gay lifestyle, sex is like at our fingertips at all times. All you have, like, I'm so way past using sites like Adam for Adam and Jacked and things of that nature, because like, you really don't have to be on those sites anymore to find a date anymore. Like, you can be on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and easily find a man because they're everywhere, and men are usually always horny, and daddy wants to get laid, daddy can find it anywhere. But for me to go on Adam for Adam and Jack is kind of redundant to me at this phase. But my thing is that gay relationships do work, but it's only if you guys are on the same wavelength and on the same understanding. My thing is, if you're not on the same wavelength, you're not on the same understanding, it's not going to work. If you have different expectations, they're not going to work. And basically, it comes down to the fact of you two communicating to each other what your needs and wants are without feeling judged or feeling insecure about being who you really are. I think also another thing in relationships that don't work as well is that people play house for way too long. I think that when you are with somebody, let's just cut through the bullshit really quick so you can stop dealing with my representative and deal with the real raw clever versus you dealing with, the person that you think that you're getting. Let me show you the fact that I am a little bit messy sometimes, and I'm slightly disorganized, and I am often usually late to things, and I'm never on time, and that's just who I am. In a nutshell. But there's expectation that, the person we get in the first 3 months is going to be that person forever. Relationships change. Finances change. Things change. Health changes. Especially when you start to get older and you have to worry about cancers. And then in gay relationships, people have HIV and things like that. So you have to worry about all these things that are constantly going to change, things going to evolve. And if you still can love the person through those things, and if you have the ability to love, because a lot of times people get into these relationships and they aren't at all dating material. Like, either they are in a relationship because they're just a serial dater, which means that they like to date and stay perpetually in relationships because they just can't handle the fact of being single, or they get in a relationship in spite of the fact that they're jaded and they're still heartbroken and not over their ex and still going through all these emotional changes, and they choose to be with you, which is, for the life of me, the worst idea to start another relationship when you haven't had enough closure on the last one. And in my 33 years, I've learned that closure is essential to get to the next phase. Even though you may not get the closure that you want, but relatively getting some closure helps you progress to the next phase of you dating and meeting somebody else fantastic all over again. Then it's this expectation that relationships are going to be perfect and they're going to be great. They're not going to be great all the time. There's going to be times when you want to have to slap that motherfucker with an open hand and be okay with it. Not saying I'm condoning abuse or domestic violence in relationships, but that's how you feel sometimes. There are going to be some situations where exes pop up from the past, and there's situations where, how do you know this person and where did y'all meet? And I think when you're in a relationship, people forget the operative word in boyfriend, and that's friend. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you should be their friend, not just their boyfriend. Boyfriend is such a limiting situation. When I'm in a relationship with somebody, I want to be their friend. My thing, I want you to be the person that I go to talk about everything. I don't want to have to divide my conversations between you and my friends and my family. You should be all that in one. I should be able to talk to you about any and everything and get a objective opinion and response back from you. You may judge me, you may feel some kind of way about the question I'm asking you, whatever it may be, but I feel like I should be able to share with you anything that I'm going through and talk to you about it. And I think that people forget that when they're dating sometimes. I think people forget the essence of being a friend to the person they're with. And I think it makes it easier in both of y'all when y'all are not always trying to play house and play the good couple and being up under each other and cuddling and all of that other stuff and expecting that the sex you had in the first 3 months is going to be the sex you're going to have all the time. I know for me, when I'm in a relationship and I get comfortable really fast, I like romance and cuddling and holding hands and all that other good stuff, but there's some days I just I don't want to be all up under you. I want to have my own space, my own friends, doing my own things. I don't have to go out and not you worry about the fact if I'm cheating or if I'm being faithful to you or those things of that nature. But relationships with gay men can work, but you have to be in the same space and time for it to work. You have to know exactly what you want, and when you know what you want, you know how to get it and how to get the response out of the kind of guys that you want. And that's another thing. Sidebar, this video is really going long. Stop pressing for guys that you cannot achieve. If you know these guys are not the type of guys you will ever get, there's one of two things you can do: give up the chase or get to their level. And if you're not ready to get to the level, just give up the fucking chase. There's always someone out there for all of us. I think people are so absorbed with the idea of trying to find love that they just forget to find themselves. When you're single, do you. Have fun. Go on a road trip. Go buy that thing you shouldn't go buy. Go pig out on some food you shouldn't eat. I think everybody's so busy trying to gear up to be a boyfriend versus maintaining a relationship when you're finally in one. Because getting a man is one thing, but maintaining it is a whole other situation. And for me, I just don't spend my energy anymore into trying to find a mate. If they show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. And I just deal with it at the end of the day. And whatever is designed for me to happen, it will happen. And my mother has made it very clear to me that I am not a spring chicken, and I'm getting older, and that I should have a man right now, and I should be married. And I love my mother to death, but really, can I just be 33 and chilling? Can I just be 33 and having fun? I've had relationships, great ones, but it's just not working out the way I would like to. But until it works out, I'm going to have fun and do me and enjoy my life and do that, because life is too short. But at the end of the day, y'all, if you want to be in love, you want to have something great, you can do it. But know what you want, know what you're looking for, and know how to get it. And don't feel ashamed at all about making the decision to have the things that you want that will make you happy. So until tomorrow, there'll be another video for day 3. I will see y'all later. Peace.